We usually assume wealth is the direct result of a service rendered. A school teaches a student, a hospital heals a patient, or an airline flies a passenger, and they collect a profit on that transaction. Take the private aviation industry. It is the high-status symbol of global mobility, where a $50 million Gulfstream suggests an owner collecting massive checks for every hour in the air. But that luxury masks a severe financial liability. Every second that jet sits on the tarmac, it loses value. The owner is responsible for hangar fees, insurance premiums, and pilot salaries that burn through cash whether the plane is flying or not. Essential services face similar math. In a private hospital, standard medical care is often a money loser. Between high specialized labor costs and fixed reimbursement rates set by insurance companies, a patient in a bed can actually represent a net loss for the facility. This pattern extends to elite private schools. Seemingly massive tuition checks are often entirely consumed by the maintenance of a historic campus and the high cost of keeping a low student-to-teacher ratio. Across these different industries, the core service is frequently a loss leader. To see where the wealth is actually generated, we have to look past the consumer transaction and examine the underlying business structure. The most resilient business models prioritize protection over product. They build what is known as a regulatory moat, using high entry costs and government bureaucracy to secure a local monopoly. Opening a new landfill is a decade-long war of attrition. An operator has to spend millions on environmental consultants, impact studies, and zoning battles before they are legally allowed to dig a single hole. That grueling process is exactly what makes the asset valuable. Once permitted, a landfill is essentially a regional toll booth. Because no competitor can easily open across the street, every hauling company in the area is forced to pay you a tipping fee to drop off their waste. Hospitals use this same logic through certificate of need requirements. These laws require a facility to prove the community needs more beds before they can build, effectively locking out new competition and protecting the existing operator's market share. In these industries, government red tape isn't a hurdle to be avoided. It is a mechanism used to ensure a captive audience and guaranteed revenue. Even with a monopoly, these businesses face the volatility trap. Their massive infrastructure debts and utility bills must be paid daily, regardless of how many customers walk through the door. Consider the empty leg in private aviation. A client pays for a one-way flight from New York to Miami, but the plane must return home empty. Burning fuel and paying the crew, this return flight destroys the entire initial profit margin. Data centers face the same high-stakes utility math. They must pay for industrial-grade cooling and massive power grid access 24 hours a day, even if their server racks are only half occupied. To survive these daily holding costs, the visible product, the flight or the server space, becomes a mechanism to capture the customer and bring them into a more profitable ecosystem. Safety in these businesses comes from the ability to outrun fixed costs. The front-end service is often just the fuel needed to keep the lights on. The real wealth is generated through hidden profit engines, secondary services and markups that occur after the customer is secured. Savvy jet charter companies often avoid owning aircraft altogether. They let billionaires take the hit on depreciation and instead charge those owners a monthly management fee to handle the logistics and charter out the plane. This shifts the risk. The charter company earns high margins by marking up jet fuel and managing mandatory government-regulated heavy maintenance. These C-checks involve stripping the plane to its frame, creating a massive recurring revenue stream for the manager. The self-storage industry operates on a similar principle of land banking. The steel units provide enough cash flow to cover the property taxes and interest, while the owner waits for the land itself to appreciate. As this diagram shows, the units are a low-cost placeholder. While the land value grows, the operator generates immediate profit through high-margin secondary fees, like mandatory insurance policies and late payment penalties. These industries suggest that many successful retail operations are actually real estate plays or financial middlemen businesses in disguise. These capital-intensive industries reveal a specific pattern. In sectors ranging from aviation to medical care, some of the most resilient business models prioritize controlling infrastructure over providing a simple service. You can see this architecture at the massive shipping terminals that handle global trade, and in the local storage facilities on the edge of town. They are all versions of the same toll booth model. Understanding this requires looking past the status symbols and the primary product. To see the true economics, you have to find where the secondary fees are collected and where the competition is locked out. Take a look at a business in your own neighborhood and try to identify its actual profit engine. Is it the service they advertise, or is there a toll booth hidden in the back? Let's talk about it in the comments. I'm MoneyAnchor, and I'll see you in the next one.